Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are in the Fiji. Now, this is our first Meet the Fiji video. We have played a few matches in the Fiji during a stream, but this is the first time that you've seen it focused on the channel. So let's get into it. First of all, upgrades and loadout. We've got Aiming Systems Mod 1, we've got Steering Gears Mod 2, and we have Concealment System Mod 1. We only have the first upgrade, we don't have the other two yet, and the upgrade we took was for the hull, that gives you the extra hit points, faster rudder shift, that sort of thing. So keep that in mind, we do not have the other two upgrades yet. Loadout is going to be sonar and smoke. Of course, you could change this for a plane if you are of that like persuasion, but the smoke does come in handy, so I prefer it. I'm not running any boosters on it in this match. I do have my flag and for alpha test, and then I have Type 1 camo, and I gotta be honest, this thing looks fantastic in Type 1 camo. I really do enjoy the Type 1 camo on it. Of course, Type 1 only gives you the negative 4.5% to detectability. You don't get the dispersion bonus, but it looks good, and that's what's important, right? Anyway, stats. Survivability, 31,400 hit points. Not bad. Armor, 9 to 114 millimeters. I gotta say, right off the bat, first of all, this ship is a step in the right direction. Compared to the Leander, compared to the Emerald, this thing is heads above tails. Like, it's fantastic compared to those two ships. I hated both of them. Not a big fan. The Leander was better, but better than the Emerald. I hated the Emerald. You guys love the Emerald. More power to you. But in this case, we went with the Fiji is a good ship. I actually enjoy it. Artillery, it's got 152 millimeter guns. Nothing has really changed there. Maybe they're different, but 7.5 second reload time, 13.5 kilometers, 25.7 seconds, 180 degree turret traverse. It's got 12 of them. There are 3 turrets, there are 4 turrets, 3 guns each, so it's 12 guns. Secondaries, it's got some. They're not bad, and they do set fires, so that's good. It's the only thing that you've got that will set fires. Torpedoes aren't bad, actually. They're 8-kilometer range. Not the best for a cruiser, but 8-kilometer range is still nicer than 6-kilometer range. They do 61 knots, which isn't the fastest, but not slow either. And they do 15,000 damage. Not bad. And their reload time is not horrendous. It's 72 seconds. It's a little minute, 12 seconds, something like that. So not bad. It's really not bad. Maximum speed, 33.8 knots. That's pretty good for a cruiser. Especially a tanky cruiser. And I say tanky cruiser with a tongue-in-cheek because while it is tanky, as long as you're bow tanking, you still want to, when battleships shoot you, you still want to give them, like, the nose of the ship broadside. You don't want to give them the center of your ship broadside because you still will take citadels. But if you give the nose broadside and they shoot through your nose, it's going to be over pins all day, and you'll see some of that later on. But 33 knots, or almost 34 knots, 590 meters. Turning circles, pretty good. Rudder shift, 6.2 seconds. Concealment's not bad for a cruiser, just under 10 kilometers, which is nice. 6.2 by air, 2 kilometer guaranteed, and 5.4 kilometer detectability, firing and smoke. And that's something you've got to remember. When you're in your smoke screen, you cannot just keep shooting at everything. If somebody's inside 5.5 kilometers, they're going to see you. So keep that in mind. Now, we did talk about, I thought we had some torpedo protection, but apparently we didn't. That was a thing. So keep that in mind. Now, overview. Sequential. You can fire the torpedoes in a tube-by-tube configuration. In this thing, I generally don't. It's only 3 torpedoes per side, I believe. Am I wrong? Yeah. I don't have the upgrade, so maybe it goes to a 4 torp per side, but currently it has 3 per side, and I don't usually fire them in a tube-by-tube. I just keep them in the normal wide. Flare for piercing is equipped by AP only, and then it has a better heal, and that comes in handy. That kind of factors into why I choose the captain that I chose. Fiji, a further development of a multi-purpose cruiser ship for the Royal Navy. Despite the fact that the ship's displacement was limited by international treaties, she carried numerous rapid-firing main guns. There were 11 built, and she entered service in 1940, so a good ship. And I haven't done any research into the Fiji itself, so I apologize for that. So, without further ado, let's get into the commander here. I chose William Tennant instead of who was the other one? I can't remember. But we've got Yamamoto, obviously, for the extra penetration on your armor piercing. His base trait is incoming damage to your citadel is reduced. Now, we currently only have him to rank 7, just enough to get to the first guy here. So keep that in mind. Now, we've got Piercer for the penetration. We've got Speed. We've got Sponge, which decreases the number of damage you take and reduces the amount of time that things can be knocked out. Yeah. And this is basically the same thing, except it doesn't have all the buffs. So I'll take this Sponge. Steer clear, we have Acoustic Chamber, which gives you an extra sonar charge. It also increases the duration and decreases the reload time. And then we have an extra consumable as well, so that gives us an extra smoke. I haven't used any of the smokes really to any sort of advantage. That's mostly due to my aggressive gameplay. So without further ado, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so what do I think of the Fiji so far? Well, I'll be real honest. I'm actually kind of enjoying it. I know it didn't sound like it in the video, but in the streams, I feel like I'm really pressured to try to put out really good games, and it tends to make me too aggressive, and I get myself killed pretty quickly in some of the streams. If you've noticed, that happens quite a bit in the streams. And I end up pushing it on myself a little bit later. But so this thing actually is quite decent. The fire rate's nice, obviously. 152s are nice against any lightly armored targets, and it's serviceable against vulnerable, heavily armored targets, but you're going to rely on your torpedoes quite a bit when it comes to dealing those big hits to battleships, because unless you're able to sit back and shoot from over a mountain or in your smoke screen with somebody else spotting, you're not going to have very many opportunities to do damage over time with your armor piercing. But it's very good as an aggressive cruiser because it's got just enough armor to bounce some rounds when you need to, and just not enough armor to really arm the shells all of the time, and you get a lot of overpins against you. And that is nice, because I've been the guy that gets deleted too many times to count recently. Now, there's an Iowa straight out ahead of us, so that tells you what? We're bottom tier. Now, being bottom tier in a lighter cruiser, it's not a heavy cruiser yet, but it's a lighter cruiser, it's not preferable. But look at what we're about to do to this poor Fletcher. First shot out, and just absolutely took everything he had. 3/4 health him with armor piercing. And just for good measures, goodbye. Now, he launches a whole bunch of torpedoes at us, which we already knew was coming, so we had our oh god. We had our sonar going, and then we just go ahead and beach ourselves to avoid them, let them pass. As you can see, we're being fired upon by another British cruiser, which is fine. At this angle, he's going to get very little to us. Now, I'm going to be a little bit timid at first of pulling out in front of this Iowa, but there is smoke screens out here. Now, you'll notice I already burned my smoke screen like a dummy, so that's the thing, and I'm not going to take advantage of using it. And that's the last smoke screen I use in this battle, by the way. It's going to be, alright, wait, no, I think there's another smoke screen coming up. So, as you can see, 3 torpedoes, I'll launch them out in a little spread here, headed behind that island. You can see the Belfast has moved on. Now, where do we have an advantage over the Belfast? Well, we have more armor than the Belfast, I believe, and we have torpedoes and they don't, which is huge. Now, luckily, this smoke screen that the Fletcher decided to lay down keeps us from being seen by the Iowa for now, and that allows us to cross this gap. We're going to get detected again right about the time we get in behind this island, so it's going to be one of those times where he's going to see us, but he isn't going to be able to shoot at us because we'll be gone too quick. He won't have his guns trained in the perfect spot at the perfect time. Now, you can see my smoke screen's about to dissipate. That means the Fletcher's smoke screen is already dissipating, and I'm getting detected. And as you can see, like I said, you're just not going to get a chance to shoot. By the time he actually looks at me, it's too late. Now, the Belfast, I was kind of hoping would push out on this guy, but this other cruiser to my right is kind of firing at him. Now, this is going to be sketchy, because I'm going to have to pull out in front of this IO again. I'm spotted by planes. I'm spotted in general. There is a destroyer left on the enemy team, so that's something we've got to watch for. And we're about to cross right in front of this Iowa, who has finally decided he needs to join his teammate instead of sitting out there by himself. So we go ahead, take a shot at him, and get pretty good reward out of it. You know, hitting the superstructure for 3,000 damage, I'll take it. You know, for this thing, 4,000 damage. As you can see, the armor piercing's already doing much better than, oh my god, he shot at us! 16-inch super heavy rounds? Pass right through. Now, don't get me wrong, that's a lot of damage to take, but that wasn't any citadels. He shot at the nose of the ship. He just shot center mass, I'm dead. I'm sorry, but that's just the way these cruisers work. But luckily for us, he hit the nose of the ship. Anything in front of that superstructure, generally speaking, unless it's coming towards you, like if you're going through your nose, is a whole other story. Now, you can see I am trying to set up a strike for my torpedoes on this Iowa. Unfortunately, I get impatient. I'm like, you know what? I don't really want to be here when that Iowa comes around the corner. So I think I'm just going to move around. Think I'll just hold these and go the other direction, you know? Because he's going to expect me to go ahead of him. Now, our Baltimore just nukes the Belfast, which is because, you know, Baltimore has really good armor piercing and 203mm guns. So your little cruiser just doesn't stand a chance. He'll citadel you every which way to Sunday. But this Iowa has his guns facing towards the Baltimore. And I come around the backside to give him some surprise butt sex. That's just the way that goes. Unfortunately, I forget we're in a cruiser, and a little cruiser at that, and we can't shoot over this little island. It's unfortunate, but it is a thing. And you can see he's already taking torpedo evasive maneuvers. He's turning away. He was going to go between the islands, realized that was a bad play, and he starts turning away. We go ahead and launch the first salvo of torpedoes that direction. Put some armor piercing through his superstructure. Not the best. We got some 7 penetrations, but some of those were into his guns, I believe, or secondary batteries. Didn't really give us full damage there, because we only got 2,000 damage. This one, I'm assuming he's going to turn back towards once he sees those other torpedoes, and we might be able to catch him off guard with the second set. And it looks pretty good so far. It looks like I'm going to get at least one. And right here, I have a brown pants moment, because I know that he's about to... Okay, my ineptitude has saved my life. Because he can and will absolutely obliterate me. Luckily, the one torpedo, the help with the Baltimore, and being able to finish him off. One Tier 7 battleship down by the Tier 6 cruiser. Point blank range. You can't say that I'm not trying, folks. That's for sure. Now, I move into the cap here, and I know that there's a battleship that's already headed back towards us. I don't know what that battleship is, but if you look at the map, you can clearly see he was on his way back. He realizes we're about to get into the cap. So, and what do we see? As long as it's not a John Bart or something like that, we should be fine. Hello, Fiji. It's a Jean Bart. Right. We're screwed. It's over. Game over. That's going to hurt. Luckily, the Fiji's not paying attention to us. He's paying attention to the Baltimore, which allows us to get a nasty salvo off, taking a quarter of his health. We go ahead, throw the torpedoes out there, which was a mistake, if I'm honest. But this salvo here looks a lot better, and there's the Citadel, and he gets obliterated by me and the Baltimore from the looks of it. And now we've got to contemplate our existence by firing at the Jean Bart. Luckily, he's already fired his gun, so he's detected by everybody on the map, pretty much. So we don't have to worry about not seeing him. Oh yes, the British, or the French have this uncanny ability to disappear quicker after they fire their guns. Not to mention he has the best armor in the game for a battleship, and he has the most accurate guns in the game that have more potential to Citadel than any other gun in the game. Why is the Jean Bart not nerfed yet? Does anything there... Oh, hello. Are we going to have enough range? Of course not. We only have 8-kilometer torpedoes. He's 10.8 kilometers away. But we fired those torpedoes at the Belfast, remember? Or the other Fiji. Luckily, he turns away, giving a broadside. Oh, God, he fired at us. But trust in the potato. We're fine. But... Again, he's going to disappear in a moment, and I'm going to have to do something very, very scary. And by very, very scary, I mean I'm literally going to have to nose out of the smoke screen to detect him, I believe. I think this is the one. But as you can see, we're getting okay damage. It's not amazing, but he's about to give us the broadside again. And even though the Jean Bart is incredibly troll with the broadside armor, we're aiming high, and that allows us to get a little bit of penetration. But you can see 5 shatters off the broadside of a battleship. Now, he's kind of angled a little bit now, but it is what it is. We didn't have to actually nose out of the smoke screen, but our smoke screen's about to disappear, so it's time to get moving. I don't want to be stationary when I'm spotted. So now that we're back up to almost full speed, and that's one thing I will say about this, we're not running a propulsion mod, and this thing gets up to speed immediately. So coming out of a smoke screen, you hit full speed ahead pretty quickly. You can see we're not getting much damage here. And we are terrified that he's about to take all of our health the next time he loads, and remember, he's got a reload booster. Not preferable. So we are assuming, oh, okay, we're good. We bounced some of those rounds, and he didn't citadel us. That is preferable. However, I'm making the wrong move here of turning back towards him, and I go to launch the torpedoes, except I had just launched the torpedoes off this side not that long ago. And those torpedoes obviously aren't going to hit, so we have no choice. 10 seconds. Oh my god, I'm dead. At this point, I resign myself to being dead, because clearly this guy is going to delete me before I get loaded. Wait for it. Wait for it. And we get the torps off just as he punishes us, and he takes all of them right in the mouth, and down he goes. And yes, that was inside 1 kilometer, and yes, I am a giant hypocrite, because I am the person that says that needs to be changed, and it really does. You shouldn't be allowed to torp somebody from that close. They shouldn't arm in that short a distance. So, that's my opinion. But it helped me in this case, and I've got 93,000 damage, 1 Citadel, 3 kills, 2 Tier 7 battleship kills, and a freaking cruiser. I will take it. So, do I like the Fiji? Yeah, starting to grow on me a little bit. 93,000 damage, top of the leaderboard, 2,500 base XP, bottom tier, bringing in 285,000 silver. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.